Hey guys, this is Patrick from learnphotoediting.net. Today we will be creating this image. Now this is going to be our starting image, and as you can see we will be doing a daytime nighttime conversion. We will be creating a scene where we have could be a dog or a wolf looking at the moon, a very big gigantic moon. Now if you are interested in more advanced tutorials, I suggest you check out my website learnphotoediting.net. Right now I have 21 tutorials. I'm adding new ones all the time. Check it out. Now also please subscribe to my channel if you want to get the newest free tutorials. And now before we start this tutorial, you'll need, if you want to follow along, you'll need the stock images. So just check out under the video, there's going to be a link linking to a page on my blog where you will be able to download all the images needed for this tutorial. So let's get started. So this is the image we will start off our tutorial with. What we will first want to do is to cut out the background, cut out the sky. And to do so, just duplicate the background and then choose the pen tool, zoom in, and then trace around the foreground. And here what you want to do is click and drag to create a curved line. Now here you don't need to be that precise because you can then go back and adjust each anchor points. So here I'm just going to trace around the grass here, but I'm not going to do the mountains yet. And I'm just going to circle around the sky. Like this. Then I'm going to use this direct selection tool and I'm just going to adjust anything that needs adjustment. And then I'm going to zoom out, and then I'm just going to press Control Enter to create the selection. Here I'm just going to miss a spot here. And now what I want to do, then you can either you can either press Delete on your keyboard, or you may create a layer mask and sort of take out the sky, but in a non-destructive way. So this is what we will do. So for that you just need to inverse your selection and then create a layer mask. And as you can see, the entire sky area is going to be black as it was the same area we had selected, but some of the sky, the clouds right above the mountains, have not been separated from the mountain. So I'm just going to quickly do that. For that, because you can see it's very sort of erratic lines and angles, I'm going to use the polygonal lasso tool for this. So again, zoom in and just trace around the mountains. but that didn't work. And by the way, if you are not comfortable with the pen tool, you can do the entire thing with this, the polygonal lasso tool. Might take you a little bit more time. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to use the black brush, opacity 50, and I'm just going to paint the entire selection black. So this way, the entire sky now is, as you can see on the layer mask, is completely black, so therefore invisible. On a layer mask, white means visible, black means invisible, and the various shades of gray means various shades, various levels of opacity. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to add a purple background. So just going to enter 643A71 for a nice purple background. And so you can see here, this is the job I have done so far. Needs a bit of work, I think, as you can see. So to fix this, I can simply use, let's use a small brush, maybe 10 pixel, hardness 0, and I am just going to click on the layer mask and I am just going to erase. Let's try hardness 40. Okay, so that looks better. Now what I will want to do is put on the sky. So grab this image, select all, copy, and bring it over. Then move it move it up like this, and then what I will do is I'm going to color correct the sky. So first of all, I am going to add a new adjustment layer, and I'm going to choose color balance. At this point, what I want to do is I want the sky to be a bit more bluish, if you will. So here you can play with the settings. I'm going to put -5 here. I am going to put -10, and I'm going to put 38. So as you can see, the sky is more blue and it is more pink purple. Then this, we affected the midtones. We can do the same thing with the shadows, with darker colors. So I'm going to put -37. I'm going to put 12, and I am going to put 19. Then the highlights, the lighter colors, I'm going to start with -19. Let's put 12. No, actually, let's put -2. Let's put 12 here. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a clipping mask. What is a clipping mask? Is you assign the adjustment layer to only the layer right below. So this adjustment layer, instead of affecting the entire image, is only going to affect this layer. And to do so, you just right click on this layer and click on create clipping mask. Now what I'm going to also do, I'm going to create a new adjustment layer, this time a hue saturation. I'm going to right click it, also create a clipping mask so it only affects this one. Let's call this one sky. Let's call this one foreground. Background. And here what I want to do, I just want to take off some of the red here. I want the sky to be a little more blue. So I'm just going to take blue, purple, pink rather than red. So I'm going to put -40 here, and I am going to put -50. This is the hue. You change the color, and this is the saturation. You take away the saturation. So this is the result I get. Then what I'm going to do here is I am going to add the moon. So just use the magic wand tool and just select the entire black area, click inverse, copy, bring it over. Actually, this is the foreground. Foreground. This one we'll never see it, so and just click right there and then add the moon. Then you want to change the layer blending mode to screen. Position it like this, then duplicate the moon, and this time choose soft light. What I want to do now is add a glow around the moon, so I'm just going to control click. I guess if you have a Mac, it's command click. The moon layer, and I'm just going to hide and create a new layer and fill the selection with the color white. Actually, I'm going to keep the selection, and I am going to go select, modify, contract by 6. Hit delete on your keyboard, or you can go edit clear, and then I am going to change the blending mode to overlay, and I'm going to go blur, Gaussian blur, and radius I'm going to put 5, and I'm going to bring back the moon, and you can see this added a glow. Now at this point I am going to color correct the foreground, the grass, and the mountains. So I am going to first add a new adjustment layer. I'm going to choose levels, and I'm going to right click, create a clipping mask, so this only affects the foreground layer. And here what I will do, actually I just want to adjust the levels of the mountains. So I'm going to paint the entire adjustment layer, the mask, black, and I am going to reveal the levels effect only on the mountain. So what I want to do, I want to paint the mountains white, and to help me I am just going to temporarily, let's put this 0.5 just so I know where to paint. As you can see, I now know where to paint. So I'm going to, as you can see here, I'm going to paint the mountains white, the color white, which is going to reveal the levels effect. Actually here I can go over because it's not going to affect the sky. Okay, so now that we have our mask, I am going to the middle slider. I'm going to put 70.76, and I'm going to increase the highlights a bit by putting 244. This is the midtones. Those are affect the shadows. Then I will be adding, I'm going to desaturate the foreground a bit. So new adjustment layer, use saturation, right click, create clipping mask, which is going to affect this layer. And I'm just going to decrease the saturation to -40 because we want to create a night scene. And then I want to next I want to decrease the brightness of the mountain. So I'm just going to right click. Since I only want to affect the mountains, I'm going to want to recreate the same layer mask. So right click it, click the layer mask, then control and click. You can see the selection is going to be recreated. Then add a new layer, adjustment layer, use saturation. And as you can see, we have the same layer masks now. And right click it, create clipping mask, and this time I'm just going to darken the mountains by putting -15 for lightness. And then I want to then darken the entire image. So this time I'm going to again use a hue saturation adjustment layer. This time I'm not going to create a clipping mask because I want to affect the entire image. And I'm just, for lightness, I'm just going to put -25. And then I'm going to duplicate that adjustment layer. And I am going to get the big brush, maybe 200, hardness 0, maybe 300. And I'm just going to, I'm going to pick the color black, and I'm going to delete or erase the effect around on the moon, around the moon, and on this part of the grass to create an illumination effect. So this is what we get. Now, next thing I'll do is I am going to create a new adjustment layer, and I'm going to choose black and white. I'm going to use for the tint color, I'm going to put 1A244F, kind of a dark navy blue color. Click OK. I am going to change the layer blending mode to soft light. And I am going to adjust the colors individually here. Let's put -184. You can see this affected the red in the image. Here is the yellow. I am going to put 24 green, maybe -12. Cyan, I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to put -27. And I'm going to put 36. Now what I will do is decrease the opacity of the sky. I think I'm going to put let's put 70% for now, and I want to also take away some of the purple on the moon, so just Control click the layer and create a new layer right beneath it, and this time fill the selection with white, and then change the opacity to 20, and this is the change it makes. Then go back to the black and white adjustment layer and duplicate it and change the blending mode to overlay. Opacity, decrease the opacity to maybe 60, and then what you want to do is erase some of the effect. So a brush of 200 pixels is going to be fine, but lower the opacity to 50, and then just erase the effect on the moon, around the moon, and over this part of the grass. Here I'm just going to decrease the brush to 50, and I am going to, since this should be getting more light, I am going to decrease the effect right on the edge here. Okay, so next thing I'll do is I'm going to add some shadows here, as this part should be darker, as this is a light source, and the more you go back, the darker it should be. So let's just add a new layer and use the rectangular marquee tool and create a selection right there. Fill the selection with the color black, and choose Gaussian blur, and before I do that, I'm just going to change the blending mode to soft light. Then I'm going to create add the Gaussian blur. Let's put I think 50. I think 50 is fine. Then we can duplicate but lower the opacity. maybe to 50. And then what I want to do, I want to add a blue hue to the grass. And to do so, I'm just going to create a new layer. I am going to select this part of the grass. As well as this one, and I am going to fill the selection with this color, which is 9 EC 4 EB, and I'm going to fill, and I will be whoops the edges here, so I'm going to use a the eraser, opacity 50. Just put 100 here. And I'm going to put multiply, and I can 200, maybe 30. I can soften the edges even more. So what it does is, just as you can see, it gives us maybe a better, a more realistic type of color for the grass at night like this. Then it's time to add the dog. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select, I am going to use the magic wand tool, and I'm going to click right around it, then clicked, I said shift, and then click right there, so you have a good selection. Then inverse, add a new layer, and then fill with black, then just copy and bring it over. And then resize, the dog to a size that makes sense. Maybe something like that. And what you will want to do then, let's call this dog. What we can do, we can create some shadows under him, and so we'll grab a maybe 70 pixel brush, opacity 40, and then we can perhaps maybe a smaller brush, Opacity, let's put 40 again. Like this. Then what we can do is then create a longer shadow. So click on the dog layer, control click. Actually, what we can do is we are just going to duplicate it, and then we are going to flip it vertically, and then we're going to use perspective maybe. Going to first rotate it just a bit. And maybe use distort. And then apply, and what we can do to maybe increase the size of the shadow of his ears, let's just put wrap. That will not work like this, perhaps. Maybe something like that. Well, that I'm going to have to fix this. Oops. Copy, cut, paste. And I'm just going to merge, so we have one big shadow. And then what we can do is do some erasing. I'm just going to put opacity 50, and then I'm going to cut out the shadow of the tail here. And what I can do to create a realistic shadow, this part should be darker than this one. So what I can do is duplicate the shadow, maybe put 60, and then use to do this on a non-destructive way. We can add a layer mask. Let's use a big brush. Oops, maybe 200, maybe 400, maybe opacity 40, and just erase. some of the shadow here, and maybe we can increase this to 70. At this point, what we can do next is add a rim light. So control click the dog layer, new layer, bring it under the dog layer, fill it with the color white, and blur Gaussian blur and choose 1. And what you will want to do here, you can create a layer mask. Oops. And just erase the rim light on the tail and on the bottom part. And you can decrease the rim light effect. Maybe 70. And then we can also add some color right around where some light should be wrapping around the dog. So to do so, just again choose the dog layer and add a new layer. Let's call this dog color, and fill this selection with this color BFA26C. I'm going to put that above the shadows. Again, control click this and create the selection. Here I'm going to modify contrast by 3 pixels. I'm going to hit the delete key, and I'm going to add a Gaussian blur to it. I'm going to choose 2 here, and I am going to temporarily put the opacity 30, but I'm just going to opacity 1. I'm just going to erase that effect on the tail. Shouldn't be much light on the tail, not much color either. Let's call this rim light. Maybe 80. Okay, so at this point I am going to add a new adjustment layer. I'm going to choose curves, and I am going to choose blue here from the drop down menu. I'm going to create 3 points on the curve. The first point, as you can see the differences, I'm going to put 5966. Second point, I'm going to put here, again it's a matter you play with the points on the curve and until you get the result you like. Here I have 125, 120, and for this one I have 201 189. So it creates, you can see the moon is a little more bluish, more purple. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add a new adjustment layer, this time a photo filter. And for the color I'm going to choose deep blue. Density I'm going to put 50. Now let's go grab this texture here. So select all, copy, and bring it over, paste it on the top of the layer panel, and you want to choose soft light here. And as you can see, this changes our image a little, so let's go back to the dog color. Now it's a little too pronounced, so I'm going to opacity, let's put 15. This is a change. Let's go back here. Now what I'm going to create is a vignette effect. So layer, new layer, and choose the elliptical marquee tool. Click on one corner, release once you reach the opposite one. Select inverse and fill the selection with the color black. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Let's put 80. And we can maybe put 40 opacity. And then we can work on the finishing touches. I want to first work on the shadows of the dog here. We can first of all darken the shadows. And also blur the shadows a little bit. So what you can do, blur, Gaussian blur, maybe 0.5. Maybe let's say 0.9. Here we can put maybe 0.2. Let's put 90. Then we can go back, and the second black and white adjustment layer, we can increase the opacity to perhaps 80. Let's see. Here I may put 60. And for the texture layer, we can reduce the opacity to 80. And what we can do then is add some strategic blur. So let's select all the layers, duplicate them. Well, that didn't work. Let's do this again. Select, duplicate, merge, and then what we can do is filter, blur. Let's put lens blur. Okay, so let's put 50. Then I'm going to create a layer mask, and I am going to maybe use a 300 pixel brush, and I am going to erase the blur on this the lower part of our image, and then I'm going to opacity 50. I'm going to reduce the opacity to 50 of the black brush, and I'm going to erase some of the blur over the sky and the moon, as you can see on the mask. And this is the final image. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, I suggest you check out my website, learnphotoediting.net, for more advanced tutorials. And also, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to be the first one to get the newest free tutorials. Until then, thank you, and I'll see you next time.